Good people YouTube, I'm the Watch Idiot, and yes, you did read that title correctly. I really do think that this here X-33 is the most interesting watch that Omega makes at the moment. And yeah, just before anyone says anything, I do have a good old moon watch, the Sapphire Sandwich right over there. And I used to own the Speedmaster 300 Professional as well. So yes, I do like Omegas, I do like the other Omegas, and I still think that this is the most interesting watch that there is out there. So in this video, I'm gonna go over what I love about the watch and also what I don't like about the watch. And also I'm gonna go over a real life situation where you can use the vast majority of all the unique timekeeping functions that this has simultaneously. Yeah, that's gonna be at the end, so stick around for that. So now we go into the dimensions, and honestly, the dimensions that you see online and in the normal spec sheets do not give a clear picture in terms of how the watch wears, because it shows that it's 45 millimeters, but that number is super misleading because it 100% wears much smaller than that visually, which is the most important thing. And I would say that it pretty much wears exactly the same visually as the moon watch. So that is definitely a really good thing, just because 45 millimeters did scare me at the beginning, but don't worry, it does not actually wear like 45 millimeters. And the thickness isn't too much of a problem on this watch, just because the case back pretty much mostly disappears into your wrist, and the mid case and bezel are very well proportioned. Finally, it's the 110 gram weight of the watch, which makes it unbelievably comfortable to wear on wrist. This one literally feels like you're wearing nothing. So one of the biggest reasons why I think that this watch is absolutely incredible is because this is one of the very few watches out there that was built for a purpose, and it's actively being used for that purpose, namely helping astronauts do their job, and it's being used as a piece of equipment as opposed to just having a watch. So going back to the beginning a little bit, the X-33 was originally launched in 1998, and it was built alongside actual astronauts for their specific needs in space. And then my updated X-33 Skywalker over here was released in 2014. And at an event that I was at a couple years ago, I had the amazing opportunity to be able to speak to astronaut Nicole Stott, who has been to the ISS, the International Space Station, multiple times. And one of the things that I asked her was, did you and the other astronauts actually use the X-33 for anything? And she said that they absolutely did use it all the time. They use it for, timing different experiments that they were running. They timed, mission critical activities as well. And of course, the super loud alarm was used for, sleep and also other reminders as well. And I mean, that's just so awesome. I mean, it was just so awesome to hear that a watch that I own is actually being used as a piece of equipment for astronauts. So the experience of the X-33 on wrist is easily one of the best parts of the watch, and that's all down to the titanium. I have experience with titanium because I own and love my good old Tudor Pelagos, although that is quite different, all things considered. I mean, it's light, but and it feels great, but it does have a steel case back, steel clasp, and also a steel movement. So that does add to the weight a little bit. So yeah, while it does feel light for a watch, it doesn't necessarily feel mind-bendingly light. This, on the other hand, is fully titanium, and it has a quartz movement, which makes the X-33 unbelievably light at 110 grams, which is specifically 36 grams less than the Pelagos. My SKX 007 on a rubber strap weighs only 8 grams less than this big, metal watch over here. And that same SKX 007 on a Strapco Jubilee, or whatever they want to call it, weighs in at 163 grams, which is 53 grams more than this full metal, relatively big watch, which is just insane. So yeah, on the wrist, you pretty much instantly feel that crazy lack of weight pretty much immediately. And the sensation of lightness specifically is what really gets me more about this watch. And what I mean by that is that this is deceptively light, because you're seeing such a prominent watch on your wrist, full metal tool watch, but it feels like nothing. And yet, I mean, this does have a 20 millimeter. This does have a 20 millimeter lug width, so it is possible to, you know, technically make it lighter by putting it on a strap of some sort, or nail, or whatever it is. But trust me when I say that this watch is meant to be on the bracelet, because I really do think that it is absolutely crucial to the overall look and the overall wearing experience. And yeah, another reason why I absolutely love it is because it just looks awesome. I mean, the titanium tone looks incredible, and I absolutely love that it is completely fully brushed. Additionally, on top of that, the finishing is absolutely amazing, as one would expect from Omega. The twisted lugs work really great, and because the brushing is so well done, it plays with the light very, very nicely. And I love that the Skywalker version has a linear negative display, because it just makes the watch wear a little bit smaller, just because it is a black dial of sorts. And I just love that it has a good old-fashioned timing bezel, and that it is a matte ceramic bezel on top of that. It just really fits with the overall tool watch aesthetic once again, and it is a bi-directional bezel, which is way more practical for real life. And let's just listen to it right now. Also, the buttons feel really, really good to press. It almost feels mechanical in that way. So let's just listen to it. It literally feels like I'm using an actual chronograph, which is really cool. And obviously, since this is an Omega, the lume is really good, as is the actual backlit display as well, which is lit for 5 seconds. And the dial is awesome because the indices are sort of cut out into the chapter ring, which adds a little bit of nice visual interest. Also, the screen is another level below those indices, which makes for, once again, just a really three-dimensional dial with a lot of depth. And of course, there are the space functions, and some of these functions include things like the mission elapsed time, which is used to record the time from the moment that they launch to the moment they land, which is the entire mission. And it's actually used to note specific events, and also used to record specific activities, whatever it may be as well, during the entire mission. And then there are 3 phase elapsed times to be able to coordinate specific events based on the MET, the mission elapsed time, and also UTC. Let's say that there's something needs to happen 14 hours, 23 minutes, and 56 seconds later after the rocket launches. It'll let you know at that point. And also, it has 3 different alarms with 3 different tones, which is pretty cool, because these alarms can be set for, sleeping, and also it can be set for specific activities, so you know which alarm is meant for which activity, which is really cool. Also, the alarm was specifically made at 80 decibels just so it can be heard through a loud space shuttle cockpit, and then also through all the machine whirring on the International Space Station. And it's quite a bit louder than a regular alarm. Okay, I'm gonna have this go off, and by the way, oh, there it is. And this is the G-Shock GW5000U with the updated module. So I'll definitely be reviewing this very soon. Okay, now let's set this one. So now onto the negatives, and I'd say that there aren't really that many negatives, all things considered, just because it is such a unique watch, and so much of its amazingness comes from how different it is. So it doesn't really follow the same rules as other watches. But all things considered, I would like to have another micro adjust hole over here just for a little bit extra flexibility. And the water resistance is 30 meters, which isn't great, but I obviously know that I'll be fine. And on top of that, for its intended purpose in space, I'm pretty sure that they don't need 30 meters of water resistance at that point. Okay, so now example situation. So in this particular situation, I'm gonna be using, let's say I'm going to go to my sister's place in Delaware, and I'll be stopping there for a little while, and then we'll head out to Philadelphia for the day. We'll have a lunch reservation at 3, maybe a movie, back when that was a thing, at 6 p.m. And then I come back to Delaware, chill there for a little bit, and then head back home after that. So I think that is a completely reasonable day to have for any human being. So, and I'll be able to use pretty much every single function in this watch, despite them being very space oriented. Let's start off the day by setting the MET, which is basically going to be the master time. That's going to be timing everything, the entire mission, so to speak. So the moment I leave my place to the moment I get back, I don't even have to turn it on. As it crosses 10 a.m., it's going to start counting up from there, and in the meantime I'll be able to have a countdown. At the same time, I can set the phase elapsed time 1, and I can make this a reminder for when I have to leave. We have to leave their place to get to Philly in time for the reservation. So in this case, I can set it for MET plus 4 hours. So whatever the MET time is, plus 4 hours from over there. And it'll give me a beep at 2 p.m. Let me know, that it's time to leave, and it'll give me enough time to, get there, park, whatever it is. And also at the same time, if I want to, I can set one of the 3 alarms at, let's say, 2:45 p.m. just to give me another reminder. While we're on phase elapsed times, we can also set phase elapsed time 2 over here, and we can set that for a reminder for when it's time to head to the 6 p.m. movie. And in this particular case, I can set it for MET plus 7.5, so that'll give me a reminder at 5:30 p.m. And then I can set phase elapsed time 3 over there to remind me once I'm back in Delaware, when it's the best time for me to leave to get back home at a reasonable amount of time. So let's say MET plus 12. So it'll let me know at 10 p.m. that, it'll give me a beep, and then I'll know that it's time for me to head out and go back home. So now onwards to the drive. I head out to Delaware, and I use my stopwatch over here to see how long my drive is, because I usually like timing my drives. And I get to their place. We chill there for a little bit, and then phase elapsed time 1 has a little bit of a beep over there. So that lets me know that it's time to head out. So I also want the time, how long the entire trip is from from Delaware to Philly back to Delaware. So I can use the chronograph for that and have that running in the background. So I get to Philadelphia and I park, and it's 2-hour parking, and obviously I don't want to get a ticket or towed. So what I can do now is use the timer over here, set it to 2 hours or to 1 hour 45 minutes, and it will beep, and then I'll be able to be reminded of the parking spot. Next up, the timer goes off. I can move the car, do whatever I need to do, and then PET 2 goes off, and that's the reminder for letting me know that it's time to head to the movie. So I had that set at 5:30, so I can get in the car, do whatever I want, and get into over there. And then I can still in the meantime be able to time whatever I like, how long it takes me to get from the car to the movie theater, whatever I want, because I like timing things that are completely unnecessary. Movie watched, all that good stuff over there, and now it's time to head back to Delaware, and I can time that specific drive from Philly to Delaware using my bezel once again. And I get home, and then I can get to the chronograph, and I can see how long that entire trip took. It'll be 6.5 hours. Let's say I get there at 9:30 p.m. And then after that, the phase elapsed time number 3 goes off, and letting me know that it is time to head back, and which is at 10 p.m. over there. And then once again, I can use this chronograph to time how long it takes me to get from Delaware back home. And let's say at home, when I get home, it's midnight, just to make it a little bit easier. And the mission elapsed time over here is gonna show that the entire mission you know, from my garage, you know, launching from my garage and docking back into my garage, was 14 hours total trip. Yes, this is completely useless using all these timers for this, but it just makes it so much fun. And you know, I have the watch, so I might as well use all the functionality that it comes with. Okay, so yeah, that was a lot to take in, but I really do hope that this video gave you guys an idea of just how insanely cool this X33 is, and also obviously how much I love this watch. So yeah, go ahead and comment down below, you know, what you all think about the watch. Maybe if any of you have an X33, whichever generation it may be, or if you really want to get a X33 at some point, you know, that'll be really cool to hear why you guys want it. And also go ahead and hit the like button if you enjoyed all the amazingness of the X33, and then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell while you're at it. Or if you want to get a better sense of who I am, check out the other videos that I put out. And yeah, until the next video, good day.